What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to this evening's Late Night Agenda. I know, it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? This evening, a Late Night Agenda, but bear with me. I'm not going to rename the show. I think I've said that all week. How are we, ladies and gents? There's a lot to get through, as always. We'll have a little look ahead to the game against Southampton. I've just recorded my preview for that game as well, so that'll be coming out. I'll give you my starting 11 and score predictions in that video. Keep an eye out for it over the next 48 hours or so. We'll talk about Manchester City's interest in BISSOUMA as well. I did warn you guys that they were going to be in for him, so we'll have a chat around that. We'll look ahead to what may happen with Minamino in the future. Danny Ings has been ruled out of the game for Southampton as well. We'll talk about Vestergaard's red card being overturned and lots of stuff. But it's a lovely summer's evening here. At least it's looking like we're getting towards summer anyway. So I'm intrigued by this weekend's game because look, the lads have had a good rest. They've had a break in between fixtures with the United game not taking place. We do have that game to play on Thursday, but yeah, I'm loads to get through. Honestly, loads. There's talk around Liverpool being interested in Pellegrini from Roma, which I don't buy, I'll be honest with you. I think this is Mourinho coming into a club and saying, you know what, we're not going to let any of our players go, laying down a marker and our names being dropped. I don't think we'd be interested in them, in all honesty. And I've said it before, I get worried when we get linked with players from Italy because I don't have great memories of Liverpool signing players from the Italian league. William, how are you, mate? Says hello from the US. Finley as well. If City win the Champions League, do we only need to get fifth? No, won't make any difference, mate. Freezing cold here in South Africa, said Cop 3 Cop. It's usually quite warm over there, though, to be fair, mate. What do you call freezing cold? Is it what we'd call cold over here, like really 0 or below? I want to go back to that comment, though, about if City win the Champions League, do we only need to get fifth? No, it is quite complicated, and I'm not claiming to have all the answers, but from my understanding of it, buddy, if City or Chelsea go and win the Champions League, it won't affect us. It may affect Chelsea if they drop outside of the top four and they finish, let's say, fifth and they won the Champions League, then they get straight back into it. If Arsenal win the Europa League, that would put them into the Champions League, potentially at the expense of who came fourth in the Premier League, again, depending on the Champions League results. But the best way to go about this is to just start accepting the fact that we're not going to have Champions League football next season, because I feel like a few of us are still clutching at straws. And look, I find myself doing it from time to time as well. I've told myself, no, Craig, no chance Champions League football, and then I look and I go, maybe, just maybe. But look, let's be realistic. We're most likely going to end up in the Europa League next season. It's not what any of us want. It's not what the players want. But you know what? If I'm being really honest about it, it's probably what our season deserves for the performances that we've put in this season. Coutinho came from Inter. He did. I'm not saying it's never positive, mate. I mean, you've got me on that one. Coutinho did come from Inter Milan, where he wasn't getting much game time, to be fair. So it's not like he really stood out there at Inter Milan and, you know, we went and got a player who was tearing it up in Serie A. He had been at Espanyol on loan from Inter Milan, played under Pochettino, I think it was Pochettino he played under at Espanyol, and had done well there. So he was kind of on the fringes at Inter Milan, and we did spot an incredible diamond in the rough there, to be fair, and it was a very good piece of business for the money we got him from. So you've got me on that one. I'll agree with you. That was one that certainly did work out. Kate, how are you? We'll never get used to these early streams. Well, this will be the last one, Kate. It was just this week with all the European competitions and the watch-alongs of Mundo Sport, though. Tomorrow night, I'll be back at 8:30, normal time as always. I don't like these early streams either because they're always much quieter and give me less time to wake up. Because you know me, I only drag my ass out of bed about 3 o'clock. If City and United win the European competition, 5th place gets Champions League. Does it? I don't know if it does, mate, because both will have qualified for the Premier League as well. I don't know if that's right, and this is confusion from a lot of us. I mean, I've read through this and tried to figure it out as well, because Leon actually asked me when we were talking, recording before this, Leon asked me about the same thing, and to my understanding of it, they would both qualify to their league place. I don't know. I don't think 5th does get a Champions League spot in that scenario that you've put in there, mate. But again, I'm happy to be proved incorrect, but I don't think I am on this one. The only way I think a 5th team will get in is if either Chelsea finish outside the top 4 and win the Champions League, or Arsenal win the Europa League, and they go in to the Champions League then as the 5th place English team, having not qualified through the league place, which of course Manchester United, Leicester pretty much will sew that up this weekend, and Manchester City will. 4th spot is up for grabs still, obviously between West Ham and Chelsea, but I don't think the scenario you've played out there is correct. I still think it would only end up with 4 teams in it. Solution said, we want Bissouma. Yes, we do, mate, and we are interested in him, and I'm fully on board getting Yves Bissouma into the football club. But Manchester City are looking around as well, and they've been linked with him. Again, with these type of scenarios, you wonder about the groundwork that may have already gone in behind the scenes, and I don't know how far along either club are on this one. I've got to be entirely honest. I know City are interested, I know we're interested, but unlike the Konate one where I can confidently say that's a done deal, done and dusted bar any failing with the medical, this one I don't know how far along it is, so I'll be lying to you. Did we sign Konate? No, we haven't signed him yet because the transfer window isn't open, but everything is in agreement. 5-year contract for the player. The release clause, we may negotiate with Leipzig a little bit on that to see if there's any way that we wouldn't have to pay it all up front. I don't know. We'll usually with release clauses, you'll go lodge all the money into either the German FA's bank or the Bundesliga's bank account to show that you've triggered that release clause. Then the player's free to go and technically talk to other clubs or the other club, but we know already there's a 5-year contract and agreement there, so yeah, don't worry about that one, mate. It's the only thing that could possibly throw this transfer into doubt would be something showing up in the medical, and hopefully it won't. But somebody say, did somebody honestly say that Kante's overrated? Who said that? N'Golo Kante's a quality footballer. There's no way he's overrated. What have we got? Is Bissouma as good as Gini? Look, it's hard to know because he hasn't been tested at the very, very highest level. I mean, yes, he's been tested in the Premier League, but we haven't seen Bissouma, say, in Champions League football, whereas Gini, he stepped up to that level no problem. I mean, he came from Newcastle to Liverpool, fitted in and worked seamlessly, and he's Mr. Consistency. But I see enough in Bissouma to think that whoever gets him, and I do hope it's Liverpool, have got themselves a very, very tidy footballer indeed. Why are we taking so long to activate his release clause? Mate, you do... Right, let me put it to you like this. Liverpool go in now, activate the release clause, get the medical done, sign the player, and he goes and does his ACL in the last 4 games or whatever it is for Leipzig. And we're stuck with a player that's done his ACL. Think about it clearly and think about it from a pragmatic business perspective. You'll get everything in place, but you would be foolish to trigger any of that until the deal is ready to go. Until the player is finished with Leipzig, they've done the cup final, they finished in the league. Other words, you're just taking a risk that this player, it might be a very, very, very small risk, but it's still a risk nonetheless that you wouldn't take in business terms. So that's why, because they're doing the right thing. You know, as fans, I know we get frustrated, but in this scenario, they're doing exactly the right thing. Because if we signed him when he did his ACL, there's tough shit us, isn't it, really? Do you think Virgil will be as good when he returns? I do, mate. Some players you have a question mark over, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking of Virgil like a machine. Maybe I think of him as almost not human. He's that good, but I do think he will come back. Gomez, I have more worries about, for varying reasons. But for Van Dijk, yes, I'm very comfortable. Comfortable? What does that make? I meant to say confident, and then I was going to say comfortable. I said comfortable. That's not even a word, but there you go. That shows you how busy my day's been. I'm playing catch up here all evening. Origi was linked to Dortmund strongly. Could that be revived? The only I don't know, Norman. Like, you're right in the fact that he had been linked there, buddy. You spot on with that one. But the only links from Dortmund to a Liverpool player recently have been to Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, and I'm sure you guys have probably seen these. There's talk of a £17 million or €20 million interest in him, which is very intriguing, I have to say, from both a footballing perspective and from a Liverpool perspective. It's an interesting one. Maybe they feel that there's value to be had there, but I wonder if Liverpool would move Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain on for that price point, or if Klopp has other ideas. That's why I think this summer is going to be so intriguing. What do I think of Jota? Clearly I love him. He's brilliant. I love the work ethic. I love the hunger, the desire, the determination, the ability. Where his best position is still, I think, is open to a little bit of interpretation. But yeah, I absolutely love Jota. I mean, it's an outstanding signing. Philip, how are you, my man? Said Craig, hope you're well. If you had to place all your money on it, who do we sign this summer? So if you want me to go that bold, mate, I can only give you like one name. I'm not going to bullshit you and say Konate, because that's done. If I had to put my money on it, I do think there's a lot to Bissouma. I do. But I wouldn't put money on it. So you're kind of asking me to be honest with you and put if like where my money would go. I wouldn't put money on it. Outside of Konate at this moment in time, I'm not comfortable enough in any of the links from what I've read, from what I've been told, and from people within the industry to lay down any money. So I would edge towards Bissouma, but I wouldn't be confident about it. You got a new lamb this morning and named him Craig. That's class. Well played. He's the GOAT already. No, he's a lamb, Craig. Get it right. But we'll change that. We'll convert him. Fritz, how are you, mate? Welcome in. Where do you think Jota's best position actually is? It's a good point. I think he's better in the hole, behind the front three. So let's say we played, and I'm intrigued to see if we change systems to a 3-4-3 next season, by the way, because I do love Chelsea's system, and I do think we could implement it if we did bring in Konate. We kept Kabak, we kept Matip, we had Van Dijk, we had Gomez, and we had a sixth centre back that I think we would need to play that system, or at least to have enough squad personnel to rotate and keep that system. So with that in mind, you'd probably have to play him in a wide front part of the front three, because you'd need your two holding midfielders and your wing backs. But if we're to stick with the system we have now, I'd like him at the tip of the diamond, perhaps behind the front three. But that's if we brought in somebody to play through the middle. Could we give Dortmund Chamberlain at 60 million and take Sancho? I mean, I wouldn't. Normally I'd say no. Not because neither would want it, because actual player cash transfers are very rare. But yeah, I'd say there could be something to that, even if they're both technically done as separate deals. But again, we're not the only ones interested in Sancho. Chelsea, United are in there as well. Do I think Odegaard is in the transfer market? I'm getting mixed things, mate, Jethro, mixed things. Some things coming out of Madrid say he is, then some things say he isn't. I honestly think Madrid are just in a bit of a mess at the minute, and I don't think they know what's going on there at the minute, because they've got the whole Super League stuff, they've been knocked out of the Champions League, they've got players that are getting old there, like Ramos and Kroos and Modric, who are on high wages in Ramos's instance, trying to negotiate a new deal. Then you have the younger players coming through as well. Then you've got the likes of Eden Hazard, who came in there for 100 million, has had a disastrous first season by anybody's measure. So I honestly don't know what to make. Odegaard, I would say there's a number that would get Odegaard out of Real Madrid, yes. If you're going off the numbers in the media, that number seems to be around 40 million. Are we still looking to buy Rafinha from Leeds? Again, like any position, there will be 2, 3, 4 players that we're interested in. Rafinha is one of the players that not just ourselves but Manchester City are interested in. So yes, we're interested, but again, I don't tell you lies. I'm not going to come on here and say he's our number 1, 2 and 3 target, because I just don't know. And I think that anybody that claims to know is telling porky pies. As Connor's put into the chat there, look folks, if you do want to become a member of Anfield Agenda FC ahead of the Euros, ahead of a busy transfer market, we're going to be adding new emojis to the membership as well soon. It is $4.99 a month. You can click on the join button there. There's a link pinned to the top of the live chat as well. You get all the Anfield Agenda emojis that Liz and Joanna have put in the chat there now. You get into our Discord group, which is where we interact offline with our members. You get a transfer heads up ahead of everybody else on the stuff that we're not confident enough to bring in here to the live YouTube channel as well, and lots of other bits and pieces. And most importantly though, you get to talk nonsense with us in that Discord group, which is good fun. We're in desperate need of a striker, said Cameron. Would you fancy us going for someone high profile and available like Kane for front three departs, Mbappe, or maybe somebody huge potential like Daka? It's a load of questions in one question there, Cameron, my man, and I'll try my best to answer them for you. We are in need of a striker. 100% agree with you on that one, my man. And then high profile like Kane, I just don't think we have the money, if I'm being honest, which annoys me. Even to say it annoys me. I think Kane will try and engineer a move at a Spurs. I get a feeling, and I've said this for a long time, I get a feeling he may end up at United. Gut instinct stuff that. Patson Daka is very interesting because there are clubs around Europe looking at Daka, but it has been muted, which is the best way I can put it to you, that he may take the step from Salzburg up to Leipzig with their manager who's coming in to replace Julian Nagelsmann. So he could make that step up, or somebody could come in with an offer. I'd love us to go and have a look at him or Daniel Malen from PSV Eindhoven. Either one would do for me and would be low risk, high reward. That's the way I'd look at that type of transfer. You're talking 25 million probably there or thereabouts, which for a striker, it's not big money, is it? Like, if you're moving on Origi and Shaqiri, you're pretty much funding that. And we do need somebody to come in and put pressure on these lads, because if you look at the attacking quartet we have now, Firmino, I mean, I still think Firmino's on the downward trajectory, and I hate saying it because I wish I felt otherwise because he's my favourite player. So I think if we are to move one of the attacking quartet on, he would be most likely in my head. And then if you did replace him, then you've only got 3 left, so you're not going to be relying on Origi and Shaqiri because they're probably going to go. So then you do need to bring in at least one more attacking player with Harvey Elliott coming back from Blackburn. So I would say, yeah, somebody like a Patson Daka, a Malen, wouldn't really make a difference if we were in the Europa League for one season, whereas if you're looking for somebody like a Harry Kane, you're not getting him if you're in the Europa League, without the money as well of Champions League football, I should say. And then the other one that I had a little eye on was Aguero, but I'd seen some stuff today linking Aguero with some talks with Barcelona, which makes sense. Because Barcelona really do need a number 9, and the slower pace of Spanish football and playing with Messi and so many other things, you could absolutely understand why that would be appealing to Aguero. I was kind of hoping a little bit that maybe we had a sniff at Aguero because he can still offer a lot, particularly if you keep him for the bigger games and monitor his fitness and stuff, and don't rely on him to play week in and week out. But it is a tough one. And I'm intrigued, like everybody else, to see who we go for, because this is the summer where we need to sign a striker. It is. Fritz Frank, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, buddy. Thank you very much for coming in and becoming a member. Very much appreciated. If you're looking for the link to the Discord group, buddy, have a look at the community tab of the YouTube channel, and it should be there. If it's not, give us a heads up, and I'll make sure you get a fresh link posted. Graham Doyle, how are you, sir? Say, Craig, have you seen the breaking news on Sky Sports coming out of Dortmund? I have not, but you know what, mate? I just happen to have my phone in front of me right now, so I will open it up. I do love a bit of live on stream stuff, Graham. 4 clubs in for Sancho, is that what you're talking about? Okay. 4 clubs are interested in signing Jadon Sancho this summer, while Borussia Dortmund are unwilling to sell Erling Haaland for less than 150 mil. Yeah, that makes some sense, mate. I mean, I wouldn't disagree with any of that. We do know that there's an agreement in place between Michael Zorc, as this article points out, and a gentleman's agreement, I like to call it, in place between Jadon Sancho and Michael Zorc, the sporting director at Dortmund, that said if an offer comes in for, I don't know if there is an amount that they've agreed between them, but let's just say an acceptable offer to Dortmund, which would be realistic. So I would imagine we're talking 80 million, something along those lines. Sancho will be able to go. United did a lot of groundwork trying to get Sancho last year, we know that, but they also did a lot of groundwork as well trying to get Erling Haaland. So I don't know where the United eggs are. I don't know what basket those eggs are in. Again, for Haaland, I would reiterate what I've said all year. If I'm Erling Haaland's representative and I'm Mino Raiola, or I'm just his father or a friend or a family member, I'm telling him to stay put in Dortmund. Stay put one more year. I know a lot of that may depend on whether Dortmund are in the Champions League, because at this moment in time they're hovering around 5th place, I think, which wouldn't get them into it. So if they qualify for the Champions League, I would tell him to stay put. He knows he's got a €75 million release clause coming in next summer. He'll get a huge move anyway because he's still only, 19 years of age or something? And there's loads of time for him. And Dortmund are a good club. He'll be playing with good footballers there. Bellingham's coming through with Dortmund. A lot of other good young players like Gio Reyna as well. And I don't think there's any harm. I think at times players rush their careers too much, and I'd like to see him take the time and really just, become a little bit more confident. I know that's mad to say that, but banging in another 25 or 30 goals in a season in Germany will add more confidence to what is already a very confident young man. And with regards to Sancho, yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, I haven't yet really let myself believe that we're going to really go in for Sancho, but I feel if we do move on, one of those attacking quartet that I spoke about earlier on, then we probably will go in for Sancho, but we won't be on our own. We will face competition. Congrats on 100k, thank you. We're hoping to do an unboxing video this weekend, so we've been tracking the Silver Play Button Award, you know, the one that's on the table there. We've been tracking the real version of that, and it's supposed to show up in Connor's house tomorrow. So if it does arrive in Connor's house tomorrow, then we'll be doing an unboxing video. Probably do it live during the watch along on Saturday. So Connor will probably come up, we'll do the watch along together, record the video of the unboxing and stuff. I ordered the second one yesterday, and I also ordered, you get a letter with your 100k plaque, but you can get a silver version of the letter, so it's basically metal. So I ordered that as well, but my version of the plaque won't be coming for a couple of weeks. We need Dybala. No, we don't. I mean, I get where you're coming from, and he's a great player, but that's like he's the new Insigne linked to me. You know, that one that's every summer we're linked to him, but we're never really in for him. What do I think of Koulibaly to Liverpool? That like I've said for 3 years, it's not going to happen. And once Van Dijk was signed, we were never going back for somebody of that ilk, if you get where I'm coming from. No doubt about the lad's ability. He's getting on in age now. I think, what is he heading for, 30 years of age, Koulibaly? And his price does seem to be going down every year there at Napoli. I mean, I think De Laurentiis, or is it De Laurentiis or De Lorenzo? De Laurentiis, I think, the president at Napoli, was quoting mad numbers a few years ago, but he seems to be a bit more realistic now. But no, it's just not going to happen. And I don't mean that to be rude to you, buddy. I mean, I'm giving you my honest answer. What do I think about Sarr from Watford? He's a very good player. I don't know if we were put off with the reaction we got when we went in to look when we were signing Diogo Jota. Sarr was another player Liverpool were looking at. Again, I want to point to a Melissa Reddy article on this, where she spoke about the fact Liverpool were met with a number that they thought was a bit too high, and a financial package that we couldn't do. So if you look at the way we signed Diogo Jota and we signed Thiago, we did it with X amount up front. In Diogo Jota's case, I think it was just under 10 million, and the rest over the course of his 5-year deal. And for Thiago, it was 5 million up front and 5 million a year for the 4 years of his Liverpool contract. They wouldn't do that. They wanted a big chunk up front, and with the money the way it is, we couldn't do that. We had to spread it over a few years. So yeah, I don't know if their position has changed on that, but obviously there is an interest there, or there was an interest there. Right, what else have we got? I'd say bring in Sarr, somebody else said. Again, I mean, there's definitely an interest there. Klopp clearly rates the guy, but sometimes these things do come down to the numbers, which frustrates us as fans, I know, because I did a video the other day where I said I'm sick of excuses, and I am. So I read an article the other day that suggested that Liverpool were being cautious in previous years in case a generational talent became available. So if you want to call that a Haaland and Mbappe, a Sancho, you can call it whoever you like, but then the but came, and there's always a but. So we were going to go big, but, and this but is coronavirus, which is very difficult for us as fans to argue against, because we can ask where the TV money went, we can ask where the Champions League money went, we can ask where the league money went, and all of that stuff. And the easy get out of jail answer for owners now, and it's a valid answer as well, is COVID. And COVID soaked up a lot of money, no match day revenues, but I'm just sick of that excuse. I'm sick of an excuse. I'm not saying COVID isn't valid. The financial landscape hasn't changed. It has. But surely if we were being cautious anyway, we hadn't overstretched ourselves, and we can still maybe go a bit. And if we don't, I think they've bottled it, and I'll be furious. I'll be honest with you, I'm already annoyed with the owners. I'm already done with them. But if they want to put any goodwill back across to the fan base, they need to step up. They need to do what the Spirit of Shankly have asked as well, which is give a veto to a Spirit of Shankly member or a fan group that sits on the board, and not just to be a token gesture. So there's that side of it, which will go a long way to helping to build bridges. But then there's also the transfer market, because I'm sick of us being a sell to buy club. I'm sick of us bringing in all this new commercial deals, and here we have high wage bills, and here we can't afford anything. we need to keep pushing on. We can't have one Premier League title and then wait another 30 years. So we need to make sure that Klopp can evolve this squad. And yes, some of that will come with player sales, but we also need to be able to throw a weight around a little bit and act like a big club. Have I heard Marseille's Tovin free? He's shite, mate. Tovin is nowhere near good enough for Liverpool. I don't mean that to be rude, and it's not because he plays in the French league, it's because he's just not good enough. If we don't strengthen, I could see City dominating the league until Pep leaves. I mean, you've also got to remember Chelsea, Jeremiah. They're going to cause a load of headaches for people next season with regards to challenging, because if they're looking to bring in another forward, which they are, whether that be a Haaland or a Sancho or a Rafinha or whomever they bring in, that's scary. If you look at the talent that they have at their disposal, even look at what they were able to bring off the bench against Real Madrid last night to close out the game, and Ziyech and Reece James, that's a quality young squad there with a system that they've wrapped their heads around that works really well for them. It's a system I'd love us to tweak and go to next year as well. You can't rule them out of anything. And of course United are going to go into the window and strengthen. Everton and Spurs are already right up behind us. What they do in this window could impact league positions next year. West Ham could end up with Champions League football, which would make them an attractive proposition. So yeah, it's we got to act. Depay is never coming to Liverpool. Anybody who ever believed any of those links, and I'm just responding to Cop 3 Cope, or whichever way I'm supposed to pronounce that, buddy. He said, what about Depay? He's going to Barcelona if everything that we've all read is to be believed. And he's just not good enough for Liverpool. For me, he's another one of those players that can show up, but doesn't show up often enough for me. Undoubted talent. Not going to knock the lad's ability. He's a good footballer, but I just don't see it, and I've not been told anything to suggest that we're in for Depay. It's an easy link for journalists, not journalists, I don't want to mock journalists about this. It's an easy link for sites to put out there because he's a free. Uar now, that's a different matter. Telephonic, that is a different matter. Houssem Uar, we do have an interest in, we should have an interest in, and I would love to see us go out there and try and bring in somebody with the attacking flair from midfield that Houssem Uar has. So yeah, I would happily go with that. Somebody says the number 9 position is dying. Do you know what, Adam? I said something similar. If you look at the two English teams that are through to the Champions League final and look at the semi-final legs that they played, both of them in the second return leg played with a false 9 to some extent. So you had De Bruyne and Foden kind of switching between it, mainly on the team sheet anyway, De Bruyne. And then you had Kai Havertz last night for Chelsea with Werner coming in from a wide position on the left. So to some extent, mate, yeah, you kind of are right. The false 9 is becoming more and more prominent. But our problem is we don't have enough goals from elsewhere to make up for not having an out and out number 9. So our midfielders this season, I think, have 1 assist between them, between the likes of Milner, Gini and stuff. Fabinho, I think that was a corner from James Milner as well, if my memory's right. So we don't have enough goals coming from other areas. So if we don't go and buy an out and out number 9, then we need a couple of wide players or a couple of creative midfielders who can chip in with 10 or 15 goals, because we need goals from somewhere. Amazing Jonathan, how are you, buddy? I will of course shout you out. How are you, mate? Welcome in. Where do you make the thumbnails? Connor makes them. He uses Adobe Photoshop, mate, and a few other bits and pieces. But mate, I'm terrible about stuff like that. I couldn't even open Adobe Photoshop, let alone make the thumbnails. What's going to happen to Minamino? Will he be kept or sold? I would imagine he's going to be sold, Damon. I don't know if it'll be to Sevilla, which he's been linked with, or if Southampton may take a flutter on him, or maybe he could go. I mean, a club in Germany would probably be a good move for him as well. Maybe Jesse Marsch will fancy bringing him to Leipzig from when he steps up from Salzburg. Maybe he'll think, well, it hasn't worked out with Liverpool. He was really good for me at Salzburg. He knows the way I want to play. Maybe he'll bring him into Leipzig. I don't know. Do you think Liverpool will sign Suarez? No. I spoke to Graham Hunter about this as well, and Graham Hunter, obviously very good contacts in Spain, works for La Liga TV, the voice of Spanish football for me, himself and Guillem Balaguer of a generation, and yeah, nothing there from what I can gather either. And I did ask, it was one of the first questions I asked them. I wanted him to work as well, Shane. I love the idea of Minamino. And what was really strange about that whole transfer was not only did we get the guy, but it was funny because the players, after we played Salzburg on the training ground, were talking about him, not knowing that Klopp and Edwards had already got the wheels in motion to sign him. Andrew said that Daka, BISSOUMA, Konate and maybe one more flair player would do it for me. Yeah. I mean, I would go another centre-back as well. I mean, I don't know if in your head there, Andrew, mate, you've already got a signing Kabak, but for me, Konate and Kabak would be grand. But I agree, yeah, I don't disagree with what you've said there. That would be sound for me as well, buddy. We should sign John Joe Shelby. You don't need John Joe Shelby. You've got me, Matty. Do you know what I mean? I can be your John Joe Shelby. Won't you just let me be your John Joe Shelby? Is Konate signing at the end of the season? Yes. And if anybody wonders why we're not signing him before, I said it earlier on in the video. Why would you take a chance to sign somebody now when they could get injured between now and the end of the season? And then we'd be stuck with a player that's no use to anybody. So it's all in place, don't worry about it, but the club are doing the right thing. We need to let Leipzig's season finish and make sure that he's okay and then do the medical, which will be what the case is. Buy Jack Grealish. We don't have £120 million lying around to go and buy Jack Grealish, mate, so that's not going to happen either. I'd also take Ansu Fati, but the money will be a problem. The money and the fact that Barcelona won't want to let that kid go. He came through La Masia, is a really good talent, still very young, but no, he'll stay at Barcelona. Thoughts on Liverpool's academy? It's a very vague question, buddy. Certainly is producing players, and the likes of Musialowski there, definitely one to keep an eye on. Pitaluga, the young keeper we brought in. Paul Glatzel coming back from injury as well. Keep an eye on him. You probably remember when him and Bobby Duncan were banging in goals for fun at underage level. Kane as well, another name to keep an eye on. Our academy is very good, run by very good people, and Klopp now gets to keep a closer eye on the players, of course, under that one facility at Kirby. Missed my super chat, did I? Sorry, pal. Will you do the United game after this? No, I'm not doing the Arsenal game, mate. I'll be finishing up now in a couple of minutes, going straight over and doing a watch along of Arsenal's game against Villarreal on Mundo Sporto. So if you haven't yet subscribed to Mundo Sporto, there is a link in the description of this stream, folks. And I'll be back tomorrow then on here at my regular time at 8:30. It's been earlier for the past few days because of the European football and us having to switch between the two channels, but I'll be back tomorrow normal time. Saturday we have a watch along coming up, 7:45. I'll be going live. We'll have a post-match show as well. Do keep your eye on the channel. I'm not sure if Connor's putting it out tonight or tomorrow, but I just did a review of Liverpool's home kit for next season. That's going to be dropping on the channel soon as well. Loads of stuff coming up. We're going to be really busy. We've got new shows at One Football coming up all throughout the summer as well. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, folks. Drop a like on the video. Apologies, it's a short one tonight, but it's been a really busy day and I have to go straight over now and do the watch along on Mundo Sporto. Love to know your thoughts on anything we spoke about during the video. Love to know your thoughts ahead of the game of the weekend as well. My predicted 11 and team news video will be coming out, I think, tomorrow as well, so keep an eye for that on the channel. Especially over the summer, really make sure you've got your notifications turned on, because anything can happen, like what happened with the United game, the Super League, all those type of things. Football's gone mad over the past few months, so make sure you've got those notifications turned on. There is a link at the top of the live chat right now that'll bring you straight over to the Villarreal, the Arsenal Villarreal watch along. If you want to click on that and go over there, I'll be there in a couple of minutes. Have a lovely weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully I'll talk to you tomorrow at 8:30. Lots of love to you all. Take care, and up the Reds. We need a bit of luck, don't we? We need a bit of something. Hopefully it's a win this weekend.